author and nutritionist Robert Ferguson. Please welcome Robert Ferguson.
All right, y'all, let's hear it for America's fat lost coach, Robert Ferguson!
Hey, this is Robert Ferguson. What's up, everybody? I am your nutritionist. I'm a guy who shares because I care. And today we're going to talk about what is the best rice for weight loss. Oh, do you know the answer to that? Like, what is the best rice to eat if you want to lose weight? Interesting. Now, I have clients who are eating rice all the time and they're losing weight. But what is the best rice? Now, some people are actually eating certain rice and it's stopping them from losing weight. Literally. And they're eating small amounts of it. So how is that? And some of the questions that I'm going to put out there, aside from which is the best rice to consume if you wanted to eat rice and lose weight, believe it or not, there's actually a better rice. And then I'm also going to share with you insight into like the fact that white rice may be healthier in most situations than brown rice. Or do you just believe that brown rice is healthier than white rice? It's quite interesting. Now, did you know that you can eat rice? Because some people avoid rice because they think it's causing them to gain weight. Well, I'm going to share with you some stories and I'm going to share with you some key facts. And my goal today is to share with you what ingredients to look out for, what types of brands of rice you want to eat if your goal is to improve your health, maybe shed some pounds, and also put you in a position where you're less likely to gain weight back. So that's what we're going to talk about. Now, before we dive in and get into the nitty-gritty of all of that, maybe you can share with me what you think would be the healthiest rice. Do you think it's white rice? Do you think it's brown rice? What rice do you believe is the best rice to consume if your goal is to lose weight? Well, I'm going to break it down. Now, this segment and what I'm going to share with you is brought to you by our Detox Drop. We're seeing a lot of people get really good results. They're getting good results. People are doing it 2 times, 3 times. Because once you do the Detox Drop, this Detox Drop, because some people actually have made mistakes thinking they were going to get our old Detox Drop, not realizing that it's been fully updated. It's completely different. The first time you do it, you're spending $69.95 for a detox that would normally go for $89.95, right? Then the second time you do it, you're part of the alumni, so all you need is the VitaBlend to do the Detox Drop, which is like 50% less than what it would take. So once you've done the Detox Drop, anytime you want to do it again, you're paying 50% less because I designed it so that it'd be more affordable for people. People could do it on a regular basis or as often as they want. And when we update the booklet, because it's digital, and we update parts of the website, you just log in and whatever is the newest version, you have access to it all the time because we're adding recipes to the Detox Drop. It just gets better and better and better. So I just wanted you to know that so you can go to our store at dietfreelife.com. And again, we're going to talk about this. So I have someone who just brought up and they said, let's see who this is. Queen D Faith. Who is Queen D Faith? My daughter's name is Faith. So Queen D Faith, when I asked the question, what is the healthiest rice? She said brown rice. We have other people who are saying they want to learn more. Well, let's tackle that. See, here's the deal. Brown rice, unless you wash it, and soak that rice, is not healthier. Matter of fact, brown rice has 80% more inorganic arsenic compared to white rice. And this is because the arsenic accumulates on the grain's outer layer, which are removed to make white rice. So they remove it in the process to make white rice. And you don't get the arsenic. But if the brown rice is still intact, unless you soak that rice, then you're consuming arsenic. And it's to the amount that is actually scary. And there's warnings if you had a young kid, let's say 2 years old, that consumes a cup of brown rice with the arsenic intact, that's too much arsenic for a kid like that. That could prove quite dangerous. So brown rice is not necessarily the best rice. Now, I've traveled around the world, and people who live the longest, okay, that live the longest, they don't eat brown rice. They eat white rice. In America, we're so big and caught up on things that are brown, like whole wheat, brown rice, like everything brown. We believe that that is better for us. But to the contrary, when you leave outside the country, like when I'm in the Philippines, people are eating rice, same as China and sometimes Japan, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and they don't have a problem with weight. You go over to Africa and a whole bunch around the country, people are eating rice. And it's white rice, it's not brown rice. It's only in America that we're caught up to believe that brown rice is better for us. Now, when you look at the nutritional profile, you'll get a little bit more dietary fiber in brown rice compared to white rice. You'll get a little bit more protein compared to the white rice, but you're getting an adequate amount of protein with everything else. So in my house, we primarily eat white rice, and there are certain rice, however, that can be harmful. So I'm going to get into it. I don't have any slides to show you today, but I'm going to walk you through it, and I'm going to share with you a story because this literally happened about 4 or 5 weeks ago, and I was sharing this with one of my clients. So I had this client who's pretty healthy, and she doesn't have insulin resistance or any of those challenges. And so I get her following the methodology, and she's doing pretty good. But as far as losing weight, I thought or expected she would lose a little bit more weight than what she was dropping because there was no insulin resistance. So then I started walking through like a lot of her meals, and I noticed she was eating rice. Like out of 3 meals, she was eating rice like in 2 of her 3 meals. And occasionally she was having rice a third time. Now I'm used to that. I've seen that many times. I've had many clients over the years who eat that much rice. And so most of the time, if you're talking to the average nutritionist, right, they would just say, we got to cut out the starches. We got to cut back on what we call fast carbs. I didn't want to do that. So I said, she's eating at the right proportions. Everything else is looking great. And one day I just said, can I see, like, what kind of rice are you cooking with? And she shared with me the rice. She sent me a picture on my phone. And I said, no, show me the ingredients of the rice. Now, when I pull out the rice in my pantry, there's one ingredient. Okay, the rice I have jasmine rice, and I'll buy sticky rice. But when you look at the ingredients on my rice, it says jasmine rice. That's it. There's nothing else there. So she said, I have 2 different types of rice. And I said, okay, send me the ingredients. So she sends me the first one, and I go, okay, I think I see part of the problem here. She goes, what's that? I said, well, the first one, and I don't have the brand in front of me, but when you look at your rice or you buy rice, I'm going to give you the take home. One of the rice that she was eating, the first ingredient was water. The second ingredient was jasmine rice. And then it says less than 2% of canola oil and or sunflower oil with soy lecithin. Remember, mine only said jasmine rice. She's got seed oils in hers, and we know that's not a good thing. And she's got water, okay, which gives it the volume. And then there's jasmine rice. So that was the first sign that, maybe we want to change up the rice. And then she pulled out the other rice. And the other rice, it said it had rice in it, but it also was enriched. And right on the front, it said enriched white rice, jasmine rice, enriched. And I go, do you know what enriched means? And she said, well, doesn't it mean like, the vitamins and minerals have been removed, or they've been added to food? And I was like, do you know what it means? So let me ask you guys, because this is very important to know. What is the difference between enriched, when you see that, as far as foods, and fortified? Because you have some foods that will be enriched and I'm going to explain it. And some will say fortified. What do you think the difference is? Okay, let's start with enriched, because the one that she showed me was enriched. It was enriched with iron. It was enriched with niacin. It was enriched with folic acid. And I think there was one other thing that it was enriched with. And that was part of the problem. Now, let me fast forward. I'm going to come back and define for you what is enriched and what does that mean, and how to know if it's enriched, and what does fortified mean. And sometimes that's a good thing, and sometimes it's not a good thing. But we replaced her rice with the rice I was using. And I kid you not, she didn't change her exercise. Everything stayed the same. She didn't change anything else but the rice, the quality of the rice, the brand of the rice, and the weight started coming off. Now, I have my suspicions why, and I have some hard, solid scientific data on why. And I'm going to share that with you. But first, you want to make sure when you buy rice, choose rice that has one ingredient, rice. Avoid rice that's been enriched. And I haven't seen a rice that's been fortified, but I would avoid that's fortified. Sometimes that's a good thing, sometimes it's not. So what is meant by enriched? Okay, this is a short one today, you guys. This is a short one. Enriched means nutrients that were lost during the food processing have been added back. So when you take rice in its natural state and they process it, right? What happens is you lose certain ingredients. And those ingredients will be things like, what do you call it? Iron, niacin, folic acid. So it was part of it before it went through a process. So then it gets removed and then they add it back. That's not a good thing. They have processed the food. And we know that when you do that, you increase a person's likelihood of secreting more insulin, the hormone insulin. And we don't want that. And sometimes what we're seeing with this processing is that some of these things that have been added back become what they call obesogens. They literally can be endocrine disruptors, and that is not a good thing. So enriched is not a reason why you want to buy a food. Enriched means it's been stripped, and then so that it meets certain guidelines or it has to have a certain amount of iron or niacin or folic acid, they add it back in. Now, folic acid, that's a hit and miss with me because we're getting too much folic acid because it's been added to a lot of things, from cereals to bread to rice, and we're consuming too much. Some people are getting too much of it. Whereas at one point, when we had a whole bunch of people having challenges with children and being born, etc., then folic acid was one of the things that was missing, and so they added it back in. And we'll talk about that on a whole different conversation. Now, when it's fortified, that means that vitamins or minerals have been added to a food that were never part of that food, right? So you know how when you go to the store and you'll see like, vitamin D added to milk with vitamin D. Well, vitamin D wasn't part of milk, but they added to it. And then you're like, hey, I'm going to get me some fortified vitamin D. So you'll see certain drinks, juices, sometimes fortified with vitamin C, fortified with vitamin D. That could be a pro, and it could sometimes not be a pro, meaning it could be a positive and sometimes it can be a negative. The closer foods are to nature, the better. The closer foods are to nature, the better. The less processed foods are, the better. The closer to nature, the better. And I know that we live in a world where we can't always have something straight off a tree. I get it. But do your best and be mindful and eat as close to nature as possible, and you will reap the benefits. Your skin may improve, your energy may be improved, your ability to burn fat will improve. So many things will improve when we don't eat as much of the ultra processed foods and we eat foods that are closer to nature. It's like I always say, it's better to eat the fruit than to drink the fruit. Amen. All right, you guys, I'm Robert Ferguson. Hopefully you learned something from that. Run with it. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at dietfreelife.com. And while you're there, because right now we're giving away some free stuff for people who are interested in improving their health. If you have lab work, right, and you reach out to us, you can just take our quiz. So if you go to our website, you'll see our quiz. Just take the quiz, and then we'll reach out to you and tell you what we can do if you can find out what your fasting triglycerides are and your fasting glucose. What those numbers are doing is we have a quick and easy way to find out if you have insulin resistance and if there's a increased likelihood you have fatty liver. Now, with 1 of 4 people having fatty liver, just by giving us your fasting triglycerides and your fasting glucose, which will be on your basic lab work, we can get right back to you. And depending on what the number is that comes out, it also gives us an idea of what your risk may be when it comes to cardiovascular events. That's like the potential of a heart attack, as well as a stroke. So just get us those numbers. Doesn't cost you anything. Just go take our quiz, or you can email me or my assistant. And if you're one of my clients, this week and next week, all my clients, I'm doing this for you anyway. So just bring it up if I don't bring it up first, and we'll get it done. All right. Now, let me see. We had Queen D Faith. She says, I just had my lab work done a couple weeks ago. Perfect. Well, look at your lab work, Queen D Faith, and contact us, take the quiz. I'll email you, or my assistant Lori will email you. You will send us your fasting glucose and your fasting triglycerides, and then we can tell you what that means. I mean, there's 3 key things that you learn here. 1, what's the likelihood of me having insulin resistance? Okay, we can quickly help you out there. 2, what's the likelihood of me having fatty liver? These are important things to know. And then 3, does these numbers really say that I have an increased risk for some type of cardiovascular event? Heart attack, stroke. Pretty important things to know. So, and it doesn't cost you anything. So this is our give back, if you will. Okay. I'm Robert Ferguson. Again, if you want to learn more, go to dietfreelife.com. And if you want to catch any of our uploads, you don't want to miss them, like if you're on Facebook or somewhere else, just go to our YouTube channel. You can type in Robert Ferguson. You can type in Diet Free Life, and you will definitely find us. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment if you got the time. We appreciate you. Until the next one, peace.